we have certainly many continuing challenges and lessons that we need to address in American society. We have come a long way, and partly significantly because of Dr. King's legacy and many people who worked with him. And I want to just tell you a little bit about my life and the changes that have taken place over the course of my life. I'm still relatively young. I feel anyway that way. My wife and I were born right at the end of World War II. At the end of World War II, the military in this country was segregated. And it wasn't until 1950, under President Harry Truman, that all of our military forces, all of our armed forces were integrated. And then within slightly more than a decade from that time, think about what took place. In 1954, Brown versus Board of Education and the desegregation decision on the part of the Supreme Court. And then the 60s came, when Suzanne and I and a few others who were here were young people, truly young people, and an enormous amount of energy led by people like Dr. Martin Luther King. And here you see up on the screen his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. that brought about truly a transformation in American society. And we perhaps don't realize sometimes the effect that that had on the rest of the world. I remember being in Brazil about 20 years ago with a group of professors. We were visiting different universities. And I recall being shocked when the Brazilians told us that even with all of the problems that this country has faced and continues to face in terms of human relations and race relations and all the struggles that we go through, they said, "You are the model for us, because as a society you have faced those problems, sometimes with excruciating pain, but you have faced them and you move through them." And I was thinking today about that and realizing that in some ways it isn't just this country in terms of looking internally at us, but also recognizing that it's also, I think, a very positive statement about democracy. Because when you think about China, for example, in Tiananmen Square, and what happened there when people tried to stand up, and what's happened unfortunately more recently with the Arab Spring in Egypt, where people who were trying to speak up for democracy and for change, again, were pushed down and silenced. So, again, I think it's important that we recognize, beginning with, as I started a moment ago, realizing that just a little over a half century ago, even our armed forces were not integrated. And now, of course, with the election of Barack Obama just a few years ago, we have truly come a long way. At the same time, because of what we've seen in Ferguson, Missouri, and other places across the country, we recognize that the challenges they continue, and we must continue to face them with courage and resilience. But it's part of us being here this evening, again, is to celebrate this wonderful legacy of leadership and courage that Dr. King and so many other people have demonstrated over the course of American history. So again, Karen, thank you. I'm delighted to be here with all of you, and I look forward to enjoying the rest of the evening with you. Thank you.